A nation-on-edge political upheaval grips South Korea. South Korea, a beacon of democracy in East Asia, is facing a political crisis. The country's political landscape has been shaken by a series of events. These events have left citizens and observers alike wondering about the future of this key U.S. ally. The recent turmoil began with a controversial decision by President Yoon Suk-yeol. This decision, met with widespread opposition, exposed deep divisions within South Korean society. The situation quickly escalated, raising concerns about the stability of the nation. The political climate in South Korea has always been dynamic. However, the current situation represents a significant departure from the norm. The speed and intensity of the unfolding events have taken many by surprise. The situation in South Korea is being closely watched by the international community. The country's strategic importance and its role as a regional economic powerhouse make its stability crucial for the broader region. Executive overreach martial law declared and revoked. In a move that sent shockwaves through South Korea, President Yoon Suk-yeol declared martial law. This unprecedented decision was justified by the president as a necessary measure to combat what he called anti-state forces. Yoon's declaration was met with immediate and widespread condemnation. Critics accused him of attempting to seize power unconstitutionally. Protests erupted across the country with citizens demanding that the president rescind his order. Facing immense pressure, President Yoon reversed his decision within hours. The swift reversal, however, did little to quell the outrage. The incident left a lasting scar on Yoon's presidency and raised serious questions about his judgment. The martial law episode exposed vulnerabilities in South Korea's democratic institutions. It highlighted the importance of checks and balances and the need for a robust civil society to safeguard democratic principles. Shaken alliance, U.S.-South Korea relations tested. The political crisis in South Korea has sent ripples of concern through Washington. The U.S.-South Korea alliance, a cornerstone of U.S. strategy in the Asia-Pacific, is facing a test. President Yoon's actions have raised doubts about South Korea's reliability as an ally. His decision to declare martial law, even briefly, has been perceived by some in Washington as impulsive and potentially destabilizing. The U.S. relies heavily on South Korea's cooperation in containing North Korea and countering China's growing influence. Any instability in South Korea has the potential to disrupt U.S. strategic calculations in the region. The Biden administration has been quick to express its relief at the reversal of martial law. However, the incident has undoubtedly strained the alliance. Rebuilding trust and ensuring that such an episode does not recur will be crucial for the future of U.S.-South Korea relations. Pyongyang's calculus. North Korea eyes opportunity. Across the demilitarized zone, North Korea is watching the developments in South Korea with great interest. The Kim Jong-un regime is likely calculating how best to exploit the situation to its advantage. North Korea has a long history of attempting to capitalize on internal divisions within South Korea. The current political turmoil presents a prime opportunity for Pyongyang to sow discord and undermine its southern neighbor. A weakened and divided South Korea would be a boon for North Korea. It would reduce the threat from Seoul and potentially create space for Pyongyang to advance its own interests. The international community must be wary of North Korean provocations in the wake of the South Korean crisis. Any attempt by Pyongyang to exploit the situation could have dangerous consequences for regional stability. Section 5. Beijing and Moscow, watching Seoul with keen interest. The political crisis in South Korea has not gone unnoticed in Beijing and Moscow. Both China and Russia are closely observing the situation, seeking to identify any potential opportunities or threats to their interests. China in particular is wary of the U.S.-South Korea alliance. Beijing views the alliance as a constraint on its own regional ambitions. Any weakening of the alliance would be seen as a positive development by China. Russia too has an interest in seeing the U.S.-South Korea alliance weakened. Moscow sees the alliance as part of a broader U.S. effort to contain Russia's influence in the Asia-Pacific. The political turmoil in South Korea provides both China and Russia with an opportunity to try to drive a wedge between Seoul and Washington. The international community must be vigilant in countering any such attempts. Section 6. The global stage crisis reverberates on the world stage. The political crisis in South Korea is not simply a domestic issue, it has significant implications for the broader geopolitical landscape, particularly at a time of heightened global tensions. The crisis underscores the fragility of democracy and the challenges of maintaining stability in an increasingly uncertain world. It also highlights the interconnectedness of global affairs, where events in one part of the world can have far-reaching consequences. The situation in South Korea serves as a reminder of the importance of diplomacy, multilateralism, and the peaceful resolution of disputes. It also underscores the need for strong and resilient democratic institutions to withstand internal and external shocks. The international community must work together to support South Korea's democratic institutions and to prevent the crisis from escalating further. The stakes are high, not just for South Korea, but for the region and the world. Section 7. Awaiting Trump's return. Uncertainty grips U.S. foreign policy. Adding another layer of complexity to the situation is the looming return of Donald Trump to the White House. Trump's previous skepticism of the U.S.-South Korea alliance and his unpredictable foreign policy approach have raised concerns about the future direction of U.S. engagement in the region. During his presidency, Trump frequently questioned the value of the U.S.-South Korea alliance, suggesting that Seoul was not paying its fair share for U.S. military protection. He also engaged in personal diplomacy with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, which ultimately failed to produce any concrete progress on denuclearization. Trump's return to power could introduce a significant degree of uncertainty into U.S. foreign policy in the Asia-Pacific. His past actions suggest that he may be willing to prioritize his own personal relationships with leaders like Kim Jong-un over long-standing U.S. alliances and strategic interests. The Biden administration will need to work closely with allies and partners in the region to reassure them of the United States' continued commitment to regional security and stability, regardless of who occupies the Oval Office. Section 8. The need for vigilance. Navigating uncharted waters. The political turmoil in South Korea serves as a stark reminder of the volatile and unpredictable nature of the geopolitical landscape. It underscores the need for vigilance, adaptability, and a commitment to diplomacy and multilateralism in navigating the challenges of an increasingly complex world. The situation in South Korea is fluid and evolving rapidly. What began as a domestic political crisis has the potential to escalate into a regional security threat with global implications. The international community must remain vigilant and prepared to respond to any further developments. This includes closely monitoring the situation, coordinating responses, and working to de-escalate tensions. Now, more than ever, it is essential for nations to work together to uphold the rules-based international order, promote dialogue and diplomacy, and prevent conflict. Section 9. The future uncertain, a region on high alert. As of December 4, 2024, the future of South Korea remains uncertain. The political crisis has exposed deep divisions within the country and raised serious questions about its stability. The situation is being closely watched by the region and the world, as any further escalation could have significant geopolitical consequences. The international community must remain engaged and committed to supporting South Korea's democratic institutions and working towards a peaceful resolution to the crisis. Failure to do so could have far-reaching and potentially devastating consequences. The Korean Peninsula stands as a stark reminder of the human cost of division and conflict. It is a reminder that peace and stability are precious and must be carefully guarded. The world must work together to ensure that the Korean Peninsula does not once again become a flashpoint for global conflict.